And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hi, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're talking about the second expansion for Alhambra. Now, I'm talking about the expansions from the big box version. This comes with all 5 of the first expansions, and I would recommend checking out my review of Alhambra before looking at this, or at least knowing how to play the game. One of the neat things about the big box expansion, and you can see it in the lid here, is it shows you exactly where to put everything in the box. The box easily contains everything. This is mostly good. The only negative thing is if you tilt it at all, everything falls out. But as long as you keep it nice and flat, it holds everything very well and easily differentiate it between the different expansions. Alright, what I'm going to do today is talk about expansion number 2, and I'm going to talk about the 4 different modules. The modules in all 5 expansions can be mixed and matched. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each module, and then its ranking out of the 20 modules, how well I like it. Let's look at the first 4 modules. The first module in the second expansion is the City Gates. These are cards that are shuffled into the deck, and when they're revealed, a player can take one of these cards and use it later on. These cards allow you to stick one of these wooden City Gates tokens onto the board. Really neat trick. Let's say you're building your city here. And as you build your city, you come up with a piece and you want to put it in your city, but you want to put it in a spot where the walls match, and you can't do that. This city wall piece will let you do that. You stick it there in the walls, and it's basically like the wall doesn't exist. People go from one side to the other side. So if you're a person who builds walls around your city, you find yourself hemmed in, you need to add more tiles, this is an excellent expansion in that regard. My daughter really enjoys it because it lets her get out of the little traps that you can easily fall into. The problem with it is, and there's not a problem with the module itself, but the problem with taking a city gate is it will break up your walls. So if you have a nice wall running around your city, this will break it up depending on where you put the gate. Still though, I'm willing to suffer with that. These are really cool pieces, and the idea of having a gate in your wall, it's thematic, will let you expand your city even more. So this is a module that I really like. The second module of the expansion number 2 is the diamonds. This is a new currency that's shuffled into the deck, and basically it's wild currency. So when your board is out there and you want to buy an orange tile, and I have 15 diamonds in my hand, I can use it to buy this 10 garden. Or if it's on blue, I could buy it. Or if it's on green, I could buy it. So wilds are very useful. However, wilds cannot be combined with other cards. I can't use these together to pay for something that's 16 or pay 16. I can't put them together. I can put diamonds together, but I can't put diamonds together with a color. Small price to pay for wild currency in the game, I think. I enjoy the extra currency. This is another module that I really enjoy, and it's one that I will almost always stick in the deck. Module 3 of the second expansion are the characters. The characters are cards that you won't use all of them, but several of them will be shuffled into the deck, and when one of these is turned over, play immediately stops, and then there is an auction for this character. Players auction using the cards in their hand, and whoever bids the highest will spend that amount of cards and take the character card. However, they can only spend money of one type. So they cannot, pay 3 blue and 9 green. That's not allowable. However, you could bid 9 green, or, if you have a whole pile, you could bid up to, here's 14 blue. So the winner will lose that much currency, which means they won't be able to use it to buy tiles, but each of these characters has a special ability. For example, this character, when points are awarded for buildings, he counts as half an extra building for one particular kind of building, which means he can essentially break a tie. This is one of my favorites. This gentleman here allows players to take money cards up to a value of 7, which means normally you can take 2 money cards as long as they're 5 or less. This allows you to do it when they're 7 or less, which makes a big difference. You can take a lot more money cards when you have this guy in the deck. So each of these people add something special to the game. This one gives you an extra point for every 3 walls. They may not help you, but they'll certainly they certainly have the opportunity to help you, and the option is there. This is something I like using. I won't use it all the time, but when I do use it, it adds a level of enjoyment because it adds, in a sense, special powers to the game. The fourth module for Expansion 2 is the camps. This is my favorite module, and I almost always play with this module because it just adds, for me, a lot of enjoyment even though it's a simple change. Basically, you add these camp tiles into the bag like normal. When they are pulled up, you are charged the amount that's shown on the tile. For example, this tile here costs 9 blue currency. You'll then take the tile and add it to your Alhambra. Let's take a look at this Alhambra here. And let's say that I bought this camp here. And you can see this wall here, the palisade. This must go against a wall in your Alhambra facing that direction. So for example, I could put it right there. Now, once it's there, the number in the fight doesn't mean anything. Just during the scoring rounds, I'm going to get a point for each tile that's next to the arrow that's pointing in that direction. For example, here, I'd get 1, 2, 3 points. And so this encourages me to build even more there, and some of the camps will give you points for 2 different directions. Now, you can't put these camps next to each other, and there's a few other rules about the placement of them, but for the most part, they're very easy to place. And, for example, if I put this one here, I would get 1 point here and 1 point over. Now, you can get too caught up in buying camps, obviously, as opposed to buying buildings and things that you're supposed to be buying, but for the most part, it's an interesting, entertaining, easily implemented module to add, and it also looks visually neat to see the camps around your city. If you only get one expansion, if you're not getting the big box, but you're buying the expansion separately, then expansion number 2 by far is the best one. All 4 modules I like. The characters give diversity to the game, the diamonds and the camps, and all the 4 modules, the gates, all 4 modules fit together seamlessly. They fit with almost every other module in the game very easily, and they're all simple. This is a game in which simple additions add quite a bit to the game. So I like these. All 4 modules I would use at one point or another. Many of the 20 modules I'll use hardly ever, or maybe once in a great while. These 4 I'll use all the time. The best expansion.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.